Well, happy Tuesday and welcome to VA Careers Live. My name is Mike Owens and I'm a national recruiter with the Veterans Health Administration, as well as your host for our weekly segment, Talk About It Tuesday. If you're here for the first time, I want you to know that we are here every Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. So feel free to grab a snack and grab a drink and join us as we talk about careers here at VA. Now, whether you're tuning in for the first time or you've been with us for the last 3 years, just know that we don't want you to be a silent partner here. We want you to be part of the broadcast. So if you have any questions or comments that you would like us to address or just anything you would like to add to the conversation, feel free to leave those questions down in the comment section or those comments in the comment section. And again, we'll be sure to address those comments and answer those questions throughout the day and throughout the week. And maybe the question that you ask or the comment that you make can be addressed on an episode of Talk About It Tuesday. So don't be shy, be friendly, and go ahead and leave those comments in the comment section again. And we love all the feedback. Maybe there's something in the episode. Maybe some of you out there are subject matter experts, and guess what? Maybe there's something you want to add on to the conversation. Maybe there's some advice, some tips, or some tricks that you want to give us. So again, put that in the comment section. We love the feedback. We love when you guys interact with us and with other members of that are watching the broadcast. So again, don't be shy and go ahead and add on to the conversation. And with that being said, we all know someone who wants to work here at VA. So let's try to get this information out to as many people as possible. If you click that share button, we have two hashtags that are associated with this broadcast. The first hashtag is work at VA. Again, the first hashtag is work at VA. Then the next hashtag is VA careers. So hashtag work at VA, then hashtag VA careers. Hit that share button and let's get that information out to as many people as possible. Or even after this broadcast is over, we have this broadcast on across a few social media platforms, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching here on LinkedIn or any other platform. You can always get that link, send it to somebody at a later time or later date, and have them watch it. And again, we want to get this information out to as many people as possible. So with that being said, happy March 5th. All right. So we're about less than a week away from the time moving forward, entering into daylight savings time. So again, my question of the day is, are you looking forward to daylight savings time? And which do you prefer? Do you prefer more daylight in the morning, which means when you wake up at 6 o'clock or you leave the house at 5 or 6 o'clock, there's daylight in the morning? Or you're the type that rather the daylight towards the evening, whether you're taking a walk in the park at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and it's still daylight. So are you looking? So again, my question of the day is, are you looking forward to time moving forward? If you're in a time zone, I understand there's some people out here that live in areas that don't observe the time change, but my biggest question is, if your clock will be moving forward this weekend, are you looking forward to that? And do you prefer more daylight in the morning, or do you prefer more daylight in the afternoon or evening time? So go ahead and put those answers in the comment section, and I cannot wait to see what you guys. If you want to know me, I prefer daylight savings time. I love when I can walk outside at 7 p.m. and it's still daylight, because we get off of work. Some of us, we like to go exercise. We like to do things. Some people just like to be outside in the afternoon. And it's always a good thing when you're able to walk outside at 7 o'clock. And it gives a chance for the kids to be outside and play a little bit longer. When it gets dark, they have to come inside early. Sometimes daylight saving time, they can go outside, stay outside till about 6:37, kind of burn off some of that energy, and then they can come inside and eat dinner and get ready for bed. So, but also I want to mention, and I just found this out this morning. I have a great team of producers that kind of give me little tidbits prior to coming on to the broadcast, and I just realized that the first 2 weeks of March is National Procrastination Week. So National Procrastination Weeks are the first 2 weeks of March. So I'm not sure why procrastination is being observed for 2 weeks, but the first 2 weeks honors us who like to procrastinate. As I said, us. So I can be a procrastinator at times. So my second question of the day are you someone that jumps on an assignment right then and there? Like soon as you get it, you get it done, you do it. and it's completed, or you're like me, when you get an assignment, you figure out, okay, when is it due? Okay, I'll do it closer to that date, or one of those last minute type people. So if you are a procrastinator, go ahead and put that in the comment section. I'm probably the king procrastinator. But go ahead and put that in the comment section. And happy to my fellow procrastinators out there, happy National Procrastination Week. So with that being said, we're going to go into our broadcast today. So today, I just want to address some of the most frequently type of questions we get asked on this broadcast. And the most of the time, people are asking about timelines. They're asking about timelines either during the hiring process, either before the hiring process. I get asked about timelines throughout the hiring process or throughout the application process. And then I also get asked about timelines towards the end of the hiring process. So I just want to kind of break it up into the three groups: the before, the during, and the after. So with the before, um, I want to talk about the timeline of when the job announcement is open. So I'm talking about when you go to VA Careers or you go to USA Jobs, and you put your career field in the job search button, and you find these great, awesome jobs that you want to apply for. So the first thing that we look at, of course, is what is the job title. The next thing we look at is, what are the duties? But one of the things that we look at in the beginning is, okay, how long is this job announcement open? Is it open? We look for the open date. Obviously, if it's on there, that means it's open. But we also look at the closing date. Okay, when is the last possible date that I can apply for this position? And so my advice for that timeline is never wait till the closing date. So for my fellow procrastinators out there, again, happy National Procrastination Week. But when it comes to applying for a job, do not procrastinate. Do not wait until the job announcement closes, or do not wait to that closing date. And there's different reasons why. First thing is that job may close prior to that closing date. And you're like, well, Mike, why would they put a closing date on their job announcement and then close prior to it? Because if you read the language within the job announcement, sometimes it says that, hey, yes, although this job may close on March 10th, we're going to close it if we get 50 candidates, or we're going to close it after the first 100 candidates apply, or we're going to close it after the first 250 candidates apply. Because depending on the position, especially if it's a regular administrative position, you may get hundreds and sometimes thousands of people to apply for one. Yes, that's right, one job announcement. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that so what they do, they may limit the amount of candidates that can apply. So even though it may be open for a week, it may close prior to that closing date because they may have reached the maximum amount of candidates. So if you see a job announcement that's open, make sure you apply ASAP. Don't wait. Don't put it off. And I get on the people that I send job announcements to, because I'll have people that I'll send job announcements to, and they'll be like, you know what, I'll wait to apply for it. I'm like, no, you can't wait, because you're going to miss out. And I've had candidates miss out on positions here at VA because they waited to the end and they got caught with it closing prior to the closing date. So again, when you see a position that you want to apply for, please, 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 if you don't listen to anything else I said today, please apply for that job ASAP, because you don't want to miss out thinking that that job is going to stay open that whole time. It may close a little bit earlier. And the way you do that is obviously have all of your documents uploaded into USA Jobs. All right. Everything that you need to apply for a job, make sure it's updated on your profile. You never want to get to the point where you're constantly having to add documents to your profile every time you want to apply for a job. Obviously, things change. There's new documentation sometimes that you may have to add. You may have to replace some things. You may have to update. That's fine. If that's the case, then I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about those who the only thing you have in your resume is I'm sorry. The only thing you have in your USA Jobs profile is your resume. That's bad, because again, if there's some other required documents that you have to have submitted into your USA Jobs profile, or you have to add to the application, you already want those documents in your profile. So go ahead, make sure you have all of your documents in your profile prior to doing your job search. So that way, when you see that job that you want to apply for, you can go ahead and just click the apply button and do it. So again, the first timeline that I'm just mentioning is make sure that when you see a job that you want to apply for, apply for it ASAP. Don't wait till the closing date because you may miss out if they reach the maximum amount of candidates that they're allowing to apply for that certain job. All right. So the next timeline I want to talk about is once the job closes, then we're all waiting for that email that says we're eligible and that email that says that are referred to the hiring manager. So again, all these timelines may vary. So I don't want you to sit here and think that every timeline that I talk about today is set in stone. I will give that disclaimer that everything depends on different things going on at that facility. It depends on the different priorities that the HR section is dealing with. A lot of it depends on the other priorities that hiring manager is dealing with. So again, these timelines may vary. So don't say, well, Mike said that it only takes 2 days to receive a eligibility email. While I may say that, remember everything varies for different reasons. So how often does it take for you to receive an eligibility email or refer to a hiring manager email once the job announcement closes? So I would say typically you get those emails within 2 weeks. All right. So typically once a job announcement closes, you will get some type of email talking about your eligibility status and being referred to the hiring manager. Typically, again, that's not set in stone, but typically you will receive those emails within 2 weeks. A lot of when I used to apply for positions with the VA or with the federal government on USA Jobs, I would say 90% of the time I've gotten an eligibility email or a refer to hiring manager email within, I would say, within 2 weeks. Now it can, if 2 weeks pass you don't hear anything, then don't fret. Sometimes no news or no answer doesn't mean it's a no. Sometimes it just takes longer because again, there's a lot of candidates that apply for certain positions. So if you are applying for positions that maybe hundreds or thousands of other candidates are applying for, it takes longer. But maybe you're in a more specialized career field, maybe like an engineer where only engineers can apply, or maybe you're in a nursing role where only nurses can apply. So if it's more specialized, sometimes those applications move faster because it's not as many people who can apply for those positions. But if it's a generic administrative position where anyone from any background, any career field, or any degree program can apply, sometimes they'll take a little bit longer because there are more candidates that apply for those positions. So again, if you're waiting for that eligibility email, that referral email, I would say typically within 2 weeks. That can be a couple of days, that can be a handful of days, that could be a week. But I would say typically within 2 weeks, you will hear something saying that you're eligible, or you may not be eligible, or you've been referred to the hiring manager, or you may not be referred to the hiring manager. So, but again, everything varies based on the workload of human resources and the hiring manager. All right, so the next timeline I want to talk about today is, let's say you have received the let's say you received an email saying you have been referred to the hiring manager. Okay, that's an email that we all love to get, especially if it's a position that we really want. We've stalked this position for weeks. We've applied for it. We've read over the job announcement for like 4 or 5 times because you're like, man, I really want this job. I really think I'm a good fit for this position. And so you finally get that email that says you have been referred to the hiring manager. So I want to give one caveat to this. Saying that you've been referred to the hiring manager doesn't mean that you're going to get an interview. So I want to say that, on these programs, I like to be as straightforward and as frank as I can be. So again, getting an email saying that you've been referred to the hiring manager does not necessarily mean that you are going to get an interview, because there's dozens of other people that have been referred to the hiring manager. So once HR or once human resources sends a stack of referrals over to the hiring manager selects the top candidates from that stack. So let's say if I'm a hiring manager here at VA, and um, human resources give me a stack of 30 applications that have been referred to the hiring manager. So most of the time, as a hiring manager, I am not going to interview all 30 of those candidates. I'm going to probably pick the top five. Now, it could be the top three, it could be the top five, maybe it's the top 10. But everyone who gets referred is not going to get an interview because it would just take forever to select someone for that position. So once the applications reach the hiring manager puts together a panel. The panel rates every application that gets referred. So there's a rating system that the VA has to make sure everything's fair. What happens is that every application that gets referred to the hiring manager gets uh, gets rated and scored by the panel. Yes, it's a panel of live people. And from that panel picks, let's say the hiring manager let's say I want to interview 5 people. So the top 5 applicants with the top scores, those are the 5 applicants that are going to get the interview. So again, I know we get excited, and I want you to be excited. I want you to be excited about the hiring process here at VA, but I do want you to understand that being referred to the hiring manager doesn't necessarily guarantee an interview. What it does guarantee is that someone will look over your application, someone will give it a score, and hopefully your score is within the top 5 that are going to get an interview. So that's kind of the process once a hiring manager gets a stack of referred applications. So now how long does that take? Again, you have to realize that this hiring panel they're not all HR professionals. Uh, they may be department heads from different departments. So maybe if I'm a department head and I want 4 other department heads to come over and rate these applications, it could be people with inside that office. It could be just various people throughout the facility. So you have to realize these are not all HR professionals. So these are people with other job duties, other meetings that they have to attend throughout the day. Some of them are supervising their own staff. So there's a lot of competing priorities. So it doesn't a hiring process does not stop the other duties of the day. So, with that being said, that rating these applications can take anywhere between a couple of days to maybe a week, maybe a couple of weeks, because again, these professionals here at VA are doing they're still doing their other job duties. So, again, you may get referred and you may get called for an interview within a couple of days, or you may get a call within a couple of weeks. I've known people that got calls a couple of months after they've been referred. So again, I can't really tell you a legit timeline, but I just say just be patient. And if you haven't heard anything within 3 weeks, I would say give it 3 weeks and then you can call and see what happens. There's normally a point of contact on the job announcement that you can call. But I just want to say if you receive the referred to the hiring manager, there's a very strenuous process that goes along to pick those 5 candidates or maybe 10 candidates that are going to get interviewed and everything. So the next timeline I want to talk about here is the timeline. Let's say you have been interviewed. Let's say you've gotten called for an interview and you've interviewed. So how long does it take from the time you've gotten interviewed to the time that you're going to get called to say that you've been selected or may not have been selected for that position? Again, that varies because first of all, were you the first person interviewed? So if me as a hiring manager, if I am interviewing 5 people, okay, and I call you for an interview, are you the first person being interviewed? Because if you're the first person being interviewed, then guess what? You have to now sit and wait until me or the interview panel interviews the other 4 candidates. So where are you in the interview process? Are you at the beginning? So if you're at the beginning of the hiring process, you have to wait until everyone else gets interviewed to hear back. So if you're number 1 in the interview process and you get interviewed first, and there's no particular order, so the first person being interviewed doesn't mean that's the person that's the highest score. That may just be the person who had the closest availability. So it's all about availability. So if you're the first person interviewed, that doesn't mean you're the top candidate. You're the top person with the top score. It just means that you had the closest availability. But with that being said, you have to wait until everyone else gets interviewed. And then again, the interviews may not happen all in the same day. Some may happen within a week time span. Some may happen within 2 weeks time span. But hire managers try to get the interviews out the way as quickly as possible. But again, we have to make sure that we go off the candidate's availability and also the availability of the hire manager. Because again, during the interview process, as a hire manager, I still have other meetings and other priorities that I have to deal with throughout the day with my other job duties. So again, the interview process can stretch between a few days to a couple of weeks. So if you're being interviewed, just be patient because again, you don't know where you are in the interview process. So Again, you're not going to get, a lot of times, you're not going to get a call that same day or an email the next day saying you've been selected for the position. Because again, you don't know where you are in the interview process. So I would say with that timeline, once you've been interviewed, give it about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. If you don't hear anything within 2 weeks, go ahead and email, or you can call the point of contact, or you can even send a thank you email. Every time I've been interviewed here at VA, I've always sent a thank you email right after the interview. So maybe within a day or two, I'll send a thank you email saying, "Hey, I appreciate being interviewed, considered for this position. I appreciate the opportunity to be interviewed for this position, and I just thank you. And no matter what happens, I'm very grateful for it." And I normally send those type of emails to the hiring manager, to the person that interviewed me. All right. So again, I know I went over some timelines, and if you joined the broadcast halfway or after I started today, we're talking about the different timelines in the hiring process. So the first timeline I talked about was making sure that you apply for the job ASAP. The next timeline I talked about is you, the timeline between the job announcement closing and receiving an email saying that you've been eligible and referred. The next time I talked about is once you receive that referred email, how long does it take to get an interview scheduled? And then the last timeline I talked about is once you've interviewed, how long does it take to get selected? So the last one I want to talk about is, let's say you've been selected. HR sends you that tentative job offer, and you're like, man, I got the job. So how long does it take from the tentative job offer to get the final offer to finally sitting in that spot working here at the VA? Again, all of that varies because everyone has to go through an onboarding process. So once you accept the tentative job offer, you won't get a final job offer until you've completed the whole onboarding process, which means you got your background check completed. If you're a clinician, the credentialing process has been completed. Any type of checks or things that you have to do in the onboarding process, you will not receive that final job offer until that is completed. So again, just know that once you got that tentative job offer, you're good. It may take some time. Sometimes that process is completed within a week. Sometimes it takes a month. It just depends on the nature of your position. But just make sure you communicate with that HR person. So when you get an email saying that you've been selected, it's normally coming from an HR representative. It's never the hiring manager. Normally you would get that from an HR representative. Just make sure you communicate back and forth with the hiring man, with the HR person that is handling your case. So and then again, once you receive that final job offer, to have your start date, and then you'll be starting here at the VA. Or if you already work for the VA and you're transferring to another job or another department or facility, you'd be sitting in that new position. So I hope that was able to help. I wanted to talk about this specifically because I do get a lot of questions, whether it's comments or people emailing me. Sometimes some people send questions to my LinkedIn inbox. If you send a message to my LinkedIn inbox, I just want to say that there's a lot of messages in there. I try to get to them. I try to do 5 a day. So I work through them. So there's a lot in there. So if you sent me something in my LinkedIn inbox and I haven't responded to it yet, I promise I'm getting to it. I try to do 5 a day, but it gets overwhelming because there are a lot of people asking for a lot of information. But if you send something to my LinkedIn inbox, trust me, I will get to your message. At Eventually I'll get to it. So, but I don't want to feel like you're being ignored, but I will get to it. But with that being said, I think we have a few questions in the comment section. So I'll go ahead and see what we can get out here. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Yes. Let's see. Christian is asking, do you have any information on the timeline for the Schedule A letter? Does that change the process at all? So, Schedule A is a special hiring authority. So let's say if I am a hiring manager and I put an announcement and I say, okay, people with Schedule A letters or disabilities can get priority. So I will say that a Schedule A letter does give you priority, but that does not necessarily mean that the timeline speeds up, because uh, just like me, if I apply for a job under veterans preference, Again, that doesn't mean that if I have to go, I still have to go to the interview process. Now, some things are direct hire, but even with direct hire, there's kind of a more abbreviated interview process. And direct hire, hiring managers do things differently. But again, I won't say that it'll give you priority to be able to move up to the top of the list if they're looking for someone with that type of special hiring authority. But I won't say that it'll necessarily speed up the process, because you still have to maybe go through the interview process. You still have to go through the onboarding process. A lot of times you may still have to wait till the job announcement closed to hear anything back. Again, it varies sometimes from announcement to announcement, but I would say even if you are getting hired on through a special authority like veterans preference, military spouses, disability, or something like that, I will still say be patient, and I wouldn't necessarily say that the hiring process will be faster, but it'll definitely give you priority to the beginning of the line because you meet that special hiring authority. But I won't necessarily say that the hiring process is any faster. All right. Um, I have another question, and I apologize if I mispronounce the name, but I think the name is Pragya. So first of all, I want to say thank you for submitting this question. So the question is, what might be the reasons for not getting selected after reference checks? So most of you know that when you get hired here at the VA, one of the last parts of the hiring process is having your references called. All right. So again, having your references called. So um, this person is asking why. What are some reasons for not being selected? So again, everything is different. Maybe it was something that happened through the reference check process, or maybe after your references were checked, something that was totally unrelated to your reference check came back. Maybe something came back in your background. Maybe some new information was discovered in your during your background check, or something that you were supposed to complete within the onboarding process was not be able to be completed, and that caused you to not be selected. But it may have happened. It may have not happened or been discovered until after references have been called. So that could possibly happen, or maybe there were no legit references. Maybe your references didn't answer. But normally, a time if you get selected and the hiring manager is having problems reaching your references, they'll reach out back to you and say, "Hey, I couldn't reach these people. Can you give me some more references?" So a lot of times they'll reach out and ask for more references. Or again, it could have been something that the references said, or it's just you just never know. There's really not a straightforward answer I can give to this question, because again, it could be something that's related to your reference checks, or it could be something that was discovered in another part of your onboarding process, but it wasn't discovered until after the references have been checked. So I know that may not be necessarily the answer that you're looking for, but that's the most honest answer I can give to that question. But thank you for selecting that. Thank you for um, let's see. So I have another question from Gatson. So Gatson, thank you for submitting your question. Gatson is asking, he says, or she says, thanks, Mike. Gatson says, does the VA have any recruiters to work with? Hope you have a great day. So yes, I'm a VA recruiter. So yes, I'm a national recruiter. So VA has a lot of recruiters that you can work with. Um, there's recruiters that work nationally, like I do. I'm a national recruiter, which means I cover recruiting for all VA facilities and program offices throughout the country. Or you have recruiters that work at a specific facility. So if you're trying to work at a VA hospital in your local city, you can always reach out to a recruiter at your local facility. I would say if you are trying to work at a local VA hospital, I would say try to reach out to that person, that recruiter at that local VA hospital first. Because as a national recruiter, again, I will do everything I can to get you hooked up to that facility. But eventually, my job is to get you over to that local recruiter at that local facility, because they're the ones that knows the ins and outs of that facility. They're the ones that handle the hiring process at that facility. So again, please, if you are trying to work at a local VA hospital, try to reach out to the local recruiter first. So let's see. All right. I think that looks like as many questions that I can answer. Again, if you have questions that I may have not answered, I'll be in the comment section later on today. My team will be in the comment section later on today to kind of answer those questions. So, but I want to thank everyone that took the time to submit a question. And I hope that if I was able to address your question today, that I was able to answer it accurately. With that being said, we did have a question of the day. We all know that this upcoming Sunday, for those who live in those time zones, we know that daylight savings time is coming, so we're going to be going forward an hour on Saturday night into Sunday morning. And so my question is, are you looking forward to daylight savings time? And my other question is, do you prefer more daylight in the morning or do you prefer more daylight in the evening time? So with that being said, I appreciate you watching us on this lovely March the 5th. I hope the weather is great where you are. Today it's sunny in New Orleans and about maybe 75 degrees here today. So it'll be a good day. I hope that you guys are having great weather where you are. I know it's lunchtime in a lot of places, so have a great lunch. I enjoy being with you guys. And with that being said, if you know it's Tuesday,